Aaron's turn, she wasn't about to share a similar fate.
Oh!
He actually took his wife's chute, grabbed a pair of scissors, and straight up cut both of her parachute straps.
Oh my god! Wow!
Passengers miraculously survived. Unfortunately, not everyone was as lucky.
Flight attendant Clarabelle C.B. Lansing was sucked out of the plane.
What? Bro, what are you talking about, man?
She had been with Aloha Airlines for 37.
What?
What if I told you a plane once lost its roof at 24,000 feet?
An airliner with its fuselage ripped away in midair, and all but one aboard survived.
How's that even scientifically possible?
I personally thought we were all gone.
And then a skydiver survived a 4,000-foot fall when her parachute failed. Those are just a few of the 14 times the impossible.
I'm not gonna keep pausing this shit, but this shit don't even sound believable.
Crazier as we go along. And first, we gotta talk about a man who literally walked into his own missing persons report on live TV. Yeah, back in 2013, when 73-year-old Robert McDonough went missing, there was still no sign of him after a 16-hour manhunt. That was until news reporters were doing their final update, and this happened.
The gentleman behind us you're looking at, that is Robert McDonough. We were doing our last live shot at the bottom of the hour, and we saw a gentleman just kind of walk up behind us, and he identified himself as Bob McDonough. Of course, wardens say he has dementia here, and he's been missing for the last 16 hours.
So that's wild.
Members of the Maine Warden Service identifying him as Robert McDonough.
Damn, that was lucky. But this guy, not so much. Because when 16-year-old
damn, that dementia shit is actually dangerous.
No one could have predicted what the universe had in store for him.
The goalkeeper was warming up with the youth team at FC's Namia Truda outside Moscow when he was hit by lightning and knocked unconscious.
Oh, I was gonna say, what the fuck was that? I thought that was an edit. That nigga just disintegrated off of the face of the earth. What the hell?
Jesus, that lightning.
Oh, they got his body. Oh, they got a blur. I'm like, bro, that nigga just disappeared from existence.
He was back on the field like nothing had ever happened. Yeah, and when the reporters asked him how it felt becoming a literal lightning rod, he just showed his burn mark and said it was difficult to breathe. That is nuts. But it's still not as crazy as how
that shit sounds
I
scary.
accidentally skied off the side of a freaking cliff. See, in 2016, Devin was hitting the slopes in Utah, just enjoying a regular day on the mountain. Until he went over what he thought was a small jump and found himself falling from a 15-story
I don't even fuck with
cliff.
Lil Snow.
Yeah, Tevin was cooked. But between the deep snow, his backpack, and pure luck, he somehow managed to walk away without a scratch. I mean, bro just survived a 152-foot drop.
That's what I was gonna say!
For one of his skis. Damn, this man Tevin is blessed. But this next guy was cursed. His life, he's been involved in 3 plane crashes. See, for years, a man from Los Angeles has been flying all sorts of aircrafts. I'm talking helicopters, 2-seater planes, and even private jets. But they've been trying to kill him since day one. I mean, 1999, he crash landed a helicopter. Then in 2000, his
helicopter
plane got pushed off the runway due to high winds. And if that wasn't enough, he almost hit a Boeing 737 with 100 passengers on board after landing on the wrong runway. It's like a terrible pilot to me. But in 2015, his luck almost ran out. While flying a vintage 2-seater plane 3,000 feet in the air, the engine suddenly shut off, causing him to fall straight to the ground. With no power and no time, he clipped a tree on the way down and crash landed on a golf course. Paramedics rushed to the crash site, pulled the man out of the plane, and took him to the hospital. And that's when this was revealed.
Well, that is what is left of Harrison Ford's vintage airplane pancaked on a golf course here in West Los Angeles.
Yeah, turns out the man involved was famous actor Harrison Ford. So you're telling
How do
me
you not blow up?
Indiana Jones and Han Solo survived not 1, not 2, but 3 plane crashes. Damn, I guess the Force really was with him. But here's someone whose luck was hanging by a thread. Because Erin Langworthy went from being a thrill seeker to a surf off a bridge. 14 people had successfully completed the jump before her. But when it came to Erin's turn, she wasn't about to share a similar fate.
Oh! It snapped! Oh my god!
Eyes underwater, seeing all this murky, round, bubbly stuff, so you can't really see anything. It's like being in a washing machine. You don't know which way's up, which way's down.
Yeah.
Oh, hell no!
Height of a 30-story building.
That's 2 things I don't fuck with: height and water.
Shoulder and some bruising on her back.
Oh!
I can't believe it.
What the? How's?
The fact that this marine survival story
Probably just falling from that high into the water.
Easy as hell, because he was standing in the wrong place at the wrong time and took a bullet to the dome. Jesus, that's a real-life hit marker.
Woo!
Thankfully, that guy was wearing a helmet, because if he wasn't...
That's a hit marker for
this would be
real.
a totally different kind of video.
You alright? Yeah, my ears are ringing.
Man, screw the military. Just happy the guy's alive. Believe it or not, we've got even crazier moments coming up. Like a passenger plane that lost its roof at 24,000 feet. A semi-truck driver hanging
I ain't gonna lie, I wanna know that
bridge
story.
for 45 minutes. Or the woman who survived a 4,000-foot fall with no parachute.
How?
Yeah. We'll get to all that and much more. But first, we gotta talk about someone that's living it up too much. Because Thai businessman Patak Rangsama crashed his Lamborghini just moments before this video was taken. And could be
That's a
seen
Lamborghini?
joking about it on the phone. See, on a rainy September evening in
That's
2014,
like a motorcycle.
he was speeding along the highway at 93 miles per hour when he lost control, swerving off the road and crashing into a tree. The result? His car literally split in two. But the crazy thing is, it was only once he stepped out of his car that he realized it had been cut clean in half. Yeah.
What's that? What half of the car did he step out of? Tell me he stepped out of the car. How?
Damn, that's not your average story right there. And neither is Sydney Thomas's. Because what happened to this truck driver not only cost her her career, it nearly cost her her life. Back in 2024, Sydney was driving her semi-truck over the Clark Memorial Bridge when out of nowhere, the unthinkable happened. A pickup truck swerved into her lane, causing a collision that drove her truck straight off the bridge at 45 miles per hour. In that moment, Sydney's life was hanging by a thread, because the only thing holding her in place was a bridge beam.
Oh my God, look at
On
God.
the back of the truck.
He hit me, and once he hit me, he took
Look
my
at God,
suspension
boy.
out, which meant that
Boy,
I
that
can't-
coulda-
well, it didn't matter which way I turned the wheel. The truck
That
was
coulda
going to
been
go
ugly.
whatever direction I wanted to go.
From that point on,
It don't matter if she
Sydney
could
was
swim or
trapped
not.
inside the 18-wheeler,
She gotta get out
100
that
feet above the
seatbelt
river,
first.
completely motionless, hoping that if she stayed still, the truck would remain wedged in place. And if that wasn't the case, and she somehow did survive the fall, she didn't know how to swim.
I was like,
Oh, that's even worse! I told you. I said even if she knew how to swim, she would have to get herself out the seatbelt, G. But she don't even know how to swim.
really hanging over the river. I was in shock. I was like, this is crazy.
Sydney's only hope was to wait for someone to
Nigga,
pull
me
her out of
hanging,
the
bro,
truck.
hanging,
And
bro.
wait,
I
she
wouldn't
did.
have moved
For
a
the
muscle.
45 harrowing minutes, she remained
I probably would
frozen
just,
until help
I probably would just
arrived.
close my eyes.
Louisville firefighter Bryce Carden
Hope for the
appeared
best.
suspended in the air next to her window.
To this day,
Just let me try and reach for my phone and that bitch
drive across the Clark Memorial Bridge again.
into the ocean.
While Sydney almost lost her life that day, this next guy actually did lose everything. And if it weren't for a little bit of luck, he'd be behind bars for life. Because when Juan Catalan got wrongfully convicted, his entire life got turned upside down. See, back in 2003, 24-year-old Juan Catalan was wrongfully convicted of murder for the killing of a young woman in Los Angeles, despite having an alibi, saying he was at a Dodgers game with his daughter on the night of, and even having tickets to prove it. He was sentenced to life in
No
prison
cameras?
with no hope of ever getting out.
You guys have the wrong person.
Well, I forgot what year it was.
You're literally identical to this. That's not me. It sure looks a lot like you. That's not me.
Oh yeah, identical. Yeah, he looks identical.
As
Yes.
far as the police were concerned,
We could say
Juan
that.
was guilty, and for the next
He looked
6
at
months, he'd spent his days
identical,
on
but that don't
death
mean it
row.
was him.
But his lawyer wasn't ready to back down just yet. He carefully combed through hours and hours of footage from the Dodgers game, hoping to find
W
Juan in the
fucking
crowd
lawyer.
and prove he was
Doing his
actually
fucking
there.
job.
Well, he didn't have any luck at that. He did discover something that would break the case wide open.
By pure happenstance, comedian Larry David, the man who created Seinfeld, was filming an episode of his hit show
Oh, what he got caught on
Curb Your
TV.
Enthusiasm that night. An even bigger coincidence, of the 58,000 seats filming.
On what? Your only evidence was being caught
One
in
city.
a fucking documentary.
Probably the fifth tape, I think it was. Walked right to the camera shot, and the rest is history, as they say.
Yeah, out of the 58,000 people at the game that day, there Juan was. Just feet away from Larry David as he
Woo,
walked
boy.
This not only placed him exactly where he said he was, but it also served as irrefutable evidence. Just 5 days later, the judge dismissed the case and dropped all charges against him. Eventually, the real criminal was found, and Juan was awarded $320,000 for being wrongfully accused.
Damn.
$320K for almost ruining someone's life? Now that's just sad. But the next guy is just lucky. Meet Ron Hunt, also known as Miracle Man, for surviving one of the worst construction accidents ever. See, in 2003, Ron was working on top of a ladder, drilling something overhead, when tragedy struck.
The whole hog hit the ground first. Its bit aimed upward.
Oh, shit! Oh! 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 What the fuck? The circular thingy that the no.
They disintegrated the sign. Yeah, Ron landed
No.
face
Ah!
18
They shot it!
Pretty much the definition of worst case scenario. With the drill still in his head, Ron was airlifted to the hospital where he was rushed to surgery. It was there that X-rays and scans revealed
Oh my god, they keep showing it, bro.
somehow gone through his eyesight
I can't, bro.
and pushed his brain to the side.
I can't
rather
even
than
take.
through
I
it.
can't even
Ron
bring
was
myself to
literally
like look at that
millimeters
shit.
away from death.
Like
Man,
looking at his
so
eye
bad for
is
Ron.
not the
His
problem.
story's insane.
Looking at the shit
Victoria Salir's
in,
story is
bro, that
scandalous
no.
because this woman's husband literally tried to murder her in the craziest way possible, and the only reason she survived was because of luck.
On a routine jump, both her main and reserve parachutes failed. At that moment, Vicky expected to die.
See, Victoria and her husband Emil had been skydiving together for years. But here's the thing. Behind Victoria's back, Emil was seeing another woman, and he was willing to do whatever it took to be with her. And on Easter Sunday 2015, before a routine jump, he came up with a twisted plan. Like, he actually took his wife's chute, grabbed a pair of scissors, and straight up cut both of her parachute straps.
Oh my god! Wow!
So that when it came time to pull her chute, nothing would happen, and she'd fall to her death. So when Victoria was 4,000 feet in the air, her fate was sealed. Because at that point, she was left with no other choice but to fall straight to the ground at 60 miles per hour. But somehow, Victoria survived. Yeah, by some crazy luck. She landed directly on a bush in the middle of a field, breaking her fall just enough to stay alive. Now with a
I wouldn't have been so grateful for a motherfucking bush a day in my life, but that day, nigga, I go outside and catch every bush I see on my mama. It could have been you.
It was no surprise she needed lots of time to recover. So while that was all going on, the police began investigating the incident and quickly picked up on something fishy. Because after looking into Victoria's husband, they not only discovered that he had taken out a life insurance policy on his wife just days before the incident, but the dude's DNA was all over Victoria's chute. So with all the evidence stacked against him, Emil had no other choice but to confess to the whole thing, admitting he had cut Victoria's parachute in the bathroom right before the jump, which led to his immediate arrest.
Wait, was that the real
video? This man was really down bad. Harrison O'Kenney was down even further, because this man literally survived 3 days in a capsized ship at the bottom of the ocean. See,
what? Nigga, scuba divers can't even live that long. And they got the gear and shit.
O'Kenney was working as a cook aboard the Jaskin 4 tugboat when all of a sudden, a giant wave hit the side of the ship and capsized it, causing the entire vessel to sink 100 feet below the frozen depths of the Atlantic.
When I was in the toilet, then I saw a wave on the vessel. And suddenly, I heard a voice saying, which is the bosun saying, the vessel is about to capsize, the vessel is about to capsize. And the next thing I saw was the vessel that went upside down.
After struggling to open a jammed door while water filled the ship,
he said he was on a shitter. And then the boat flips us.
Harrison eventually found himself trapped in a pitch-black, 4-foot bubble
funny,
of
bro.
breathable air, where he would remain for 2
But if I just seen my shit floating around,
with limited food and even less
I had to get rid of that.
When I was right in the water, when I have access to nothing, right down inside the water, I thought of my family, thought of my mom, my brothers.
How is he underwater, but like the
way to get to them.
It's not all the way filled.
I know I'm going to die.
In one
And
part.
that's not the craziest part, because after 62 helpless hours, he was able to signal South African rescue divers who ultimately saved his life. While none of the other 11 crewmates unfortunately survived the tragedy, I'm sure the odds were stacked against there being even one. Damn, He was lucky to make it out alive. That's crazy. But what's even crazier is what happened to this group of boys and their coach.
A dozen members of a youth football team and their coach are
Missing?
missing. Thought to be
Oh,
trapped
hell
in an
no.
underground cave.
Oh, hell no, gang. Like, what? A whole bus off the map?
See, in June of 2018, after practice, the boys decided to explore the Timeline Cave. But what they didn't realize was that their little adventure would nearly cost them their lives. Because what?
I apologize. I expected they had buses and shit. They don't have buses. They was riding bikes.
Unexpected heavy rain triggered flash flooding, which blocked their only way out.
My bad.
With no food and continuous rising water levels, they were forced even deeper into the mountain until they finally found themselves stranded on a ledge, more than 2 miles from the cave's entrance. Yeah, at this point, they had nowhere else to go.
What were they
Outside
doing?
the
On a
cave walls,
adventure?
though, one of the largest international rescue missions ever was underway. I'm talking over 100 divers, 2,000 soldiers, and more than 10,000 volunteers from
Hey,
all
we
over
gotta
the world.
find them
And with the
kids.
worsening weather conditions and a complex network of tunnels, rescuing them was not going to be easy.
That's probably the biggest, like, amount of kids missing at one
They
point.
believe that there has been flash flooding inside.
The desperate race now is to find another way.
I just wonder how they knew they was in
9
there.
days straight, no one knew if the boys were even alive. That was until a team of British cave divers made an incredible discovery. Because on the 10th day of searching, without any success, they finally located the boys.
We're coming. It's okay. It's okay. Many people
They
are
were sitting in the
coming.
dark too,
Finding them
so
was
they
only
probably
half the
didn't know where
battle.
to go.
Getting them out was
And
a
the coach
whole
right there too.
challenge. You see, rescuers had an extremely difficult time navigating the tunnels, and unfortunately, tragedy struck again.
Breaking news out of Thailand, where a former Thai Navy SEAL has died during rescue operations.
It's raised serious doubts about how they'll get the 12 boys and their coach
How did he
out
die?
alive.
Yeah, without a safe way to get the boys out and time running out, their last option was to give them a sedative to knock them out, fitting them with diving masks and transporting their unconscious bodies through the tunnels one by one.
Mission incredible.
Well, this is what all of those who've been involved in this operation have been waiting to see. The boys are coming out.
And on July 10th, 18 days after they were first trapped inside, all 13 of them were brought to safety and reunited with their families. But alright, we've heard a lot of crazy stories so far, and yet we've got one that tops them all.
Yeah, I need to hear
the
this
craziest
story,
survival story in history.
Around 2 in the afternoon on April 28, 1988, Aloha Airlines Flight 243 makes an emergency landing at Kahului Airport on Maui.
You see, the plane was just doing a routine 35-minute trip from Hilo Airport.
A 35-minute trip?
Something terrifying happened. Because while cruising at an altitude of 24,000 feet, an explosion went off, causing the entire plane to shake and leaving everyone terrified. Yeah, it's because an 18-foot section of the plane's roof suddenly ripped off. And with winds blasting through the cabin at 300 miles per hour...
That's what I'm saying, bro, like...
I heard an impact, looked up, and I saw that the plane was falling apart up in the front. Thought we were done.
Thought this was it, because from my angle, I always saw sky.
I noticed that right next to my feet was just an exposed area, and I could see the ocean below me.
Cockpit to the rest of the plane was the floor, and at that moment, it could snap at any second, leaving the pilots with no choice but to make an emergency landing. And while all passengers miraculously survived, unfortunately, not everyone was as lucky.
Flight attendant Clarabelle C.B. Lansing was sucked out of the plane.
What? Bro, what are you talking about, man?
She'd been with Aloha Airlines for 37.
What?
Out of the 95 people on board that day, only one didn't make it. So after an investigation, it was revealed that the unnoticed cracks in the fuselage caused the roof to tear off. And if it hadn't been for the skilled pilots on board that day, Airlines Flight 243.
Mostly skill and partly luck. A major disaster averted. Certainly a day people in Hawaii won't ever forget.
Just imagine the reaction they all had seeing her.
Not luck at all. The fact that this guy
Oh
entered a
my
cave
God.
and never made it out. Because he took one wrong turn, got trapped, and ended up stuck there forever. Never made it out. That's just wild. But you know what's not luck at all? The fact that this guy entered a cave and never made it out. Because he took one wrong turn, got trapped, and ended up stuck there forever. Yeah, from the world's deadliest cave to a road with the highest fatality rate ever. There's some dangerous places you gotta see. Look, if you want to hear more, you need to click on this video right here.
What the fuck? Like, what the fuck?